morning, Rabotai. Welcome to Breakfast in the Class. Breakfast in the Class today is dedicated in loving memory of Miss Lily Safra Leah Shalom Nishmat. Leah Bat Chana, her philanthropy has reached so many throughout the entire world. Also sponsored by Sylvie and Abraham Galapo. Dedicated in loving memory of Sylvie's mother, Josette Sunigo Leah Shalom Nishmat Rivka Bet Esther Ruach Adonai Tenichena Began Eden. As well, the month of Cobra dedicated in honor of Rachel Sai, donated by her children, and the week of Cobra sponsored by David E. Ash in honor of you and your substantial capacity to good today and every day. We'd like to also welcome the Haruni clan from Las Vegas, who's here with us for the last few days. We've enjoyed having you with us. And we have a Levi with us also in honor, Baruch Hashem, Zuchut we had to have you with us over Shabbat, to have Aliyah, to do the Hashkavot for all the wonderful souls of the family that we mentioned on Shabbat. We also have honored guests with us of all types and stripes. Baruch Hashem, it's a zechut every day to have everyone here with us live and online. My friends, I wanted to just address a very powerful lesson that we find in the parasha this week. Pasuk tells us, "Vayetze Yaakov vayelech Harana," and Yaakov leaves and he goes to Haran. Now, why is Yaakov leaving? We know, you read the last week's parasha. You understand that in the aftermath of the Berachot, Esav hates Yaakov so much, he can't wait for his father to die, the father that he has such kavod for. He can't wait for his father to die. Yikrevu yimei eved avi. Let my father pass away and I'm going to kill my brother. Rivka understands what's going on, and she says directly to Yaakov, you need to go. And she tells Yitzchak, almost as if to sideline the issue, she's like, look, I really want him to get married. We should send him to Haran, not making it about the fact that there's a fight between the sons, but rather saying it's so important for him to go and find a shidduch. So send him. Yitzchak calls him in, he sends him, he gives him a beracha, and Yaakov is on his way. Now the rabbis point out on these words, Vayetze Yaakov, Vayelech Harana, that there's two separate words. One is Vayetze, that he leaves, and one is Vayelech, that he goes. And famously, the Rav used to say about these words that when a person leaves a place and when a person goes to a place, those are two separate things. And let me explain what that means, what this idea means, and what it means to each and every person, no matter what they're going through. I remember when I was in yeshiva back in the day in Edison, I had a great rabbi, and his name was Rabbi Shachar. Brilliant man. I can't even explain to you how wise, how smart, how deep this rabbi's brain was. He was a wonder to behold. Okay, his memory was off the charts. His depth of perception was incredible. So there came a time and I was ready to move on from yeshiva. I was going through something in the yeshiva. I wanted to do better. So, I asked him if I could speak to him. We go for a walk. And he says, what are you thinking of doing? So I said, I'm thinking of going to Eretz Israel. And he said to me in his inimitable way, he said, Shlomo, Eretz Israel is not an address. Eretz Israel, he said, is not an address. That's not a place where you're going. In effect, what he was telling me was that I was running away. You're having an issue, you're trying to figure something out, you want to do better, you want to go up a level, right? You can't just say, I'm going to Israel. I'm going to Eretz Israel. Where are you going in Israel? Who's going to be your rabbi there? Who's going to be your chavruta? What's the setup going to be? Why is it any better than the setup you have here? Oftentimes, people are so concerned with Vayetze, with leaving the problem that they haven't analyzed whether the place that they're going is any better than the place that they're leaving. So there has to be, like Yaakov Avinu had, a reason why he was leaving the place he was leaving, but also a reason why he was going to the place that he was going to. The reason why he was leaving was to run away from Esav. The reason why he was going somewhere, Rashi explains, he was leaving because of this, and he was going to Haran because in Haran, the prospects of finding a kala, of finding a woman that he could marry, that had the right midot, that had the right character traits, right? She might be able to be found there. So in the process of decision making in life, this is not always about a place. You know, we like to think about the story as Yaakov is leaving this place and he's going to this place. But it's not really about the place at all, is it? Where is it? What is it about? It's what he's going through in the place that he's in his life. And where he's going to, you know, so to speak, vis-a-vis what he's trying to accomplish in his life. You know, if a person doesn't figure this out for themselves, oftentimes what do? They switch situations, but not issues. Rabotai, they switch situations, but not issues. You have a guy, he's messed up, he's single. What does he tell himself? What does his mother tell him? What does his father tell? Honey, you just need to get married. You know why you said, you know why? No, he's depressed. That has nothing to do with him. It might also be a contributing factor to his depression. But a depressed single guy that gets married is now just a depressed married guy. And now he's bringing down two people, not one. So the vayetze of a person who's depressed in his life, right, is not to go and get married. Marriage is not an address. Vayelech, where you're coming from and where you're going to. All these concepts, they illustrate themselves in such powerful ways in the lives of human beings. Well, you know, it's time for a career change. No, it's not. It's not time for a career change. It's time for you to man up. You haven't stood up for yourself. You haven't asked for a bigger project. You haven't walked in and said, this is my value, this is my worth, this is what I'm asking for. If not, I'll find someplace else. But the reason why you're not happy where you are is not because you need a career change. It's because you need to change the way you're thinking about things. Sometimes, if you haven't solved the problem that you're leaving the land that you're in with, what do? You just bring that problem to the next place. And then what happens? So you have people who are willing to say, my issue is not me, it's my single status, or it's my wife. So what does he do? He gets divorced because he's going to solve his problem with his wife. Now what happens? He has the same exact problem, had nothing to do with her. It was all about him. So what did he do? He just took the problem and moved it to a new place because the problem was within him. So my friends, a lot of times, there's a second why that needs to be asked. Why am I going through what I'm going through? Person will explain, the answer is, right, why? Because of this. But now ask another why. Why is that happening to me? What are my contributing factors in the story, in this issue? I have problems with money. Why? Because my job doesn't make enough money to cover my expenses. That's not a why. You just translated your situation into different words. Asking yourself why something is occurring is a deeper question. What are the motivating factors? The answer to that might be that you're not making enough money. But the answer to that might also be something completely different. You're spending too much money. You don't need a career change. You don't even need a raise. So a person is in a situation of sadness. They're down, they're upset at themselves, they're upset at the world. They feel victimized. You know what they need? They need one less Chanel bag. They need an apartment that's 1/10 of the size smaller. They need a car which is one notch lower on the rental car paper. You know when they rate it in classes? You need one notch lower. Then you have enough money. Now let me be clear. I don't want to take away your Chanel bag. I don't want to take away your car. I don't want to take away the size of your apartment. Fadal, enjoy everything. But sometimes the answer to why I don't have enough money is not because I'm not making enough money. You are making enough money. You're just spending too much money. Or you're spending in a way which doesn't make sense. So a person needs to ask this question, why? You have a guy pick up his whole family, move to another country. Vayetze. Why? Better job opportunity over there. I'm going to make more money. It's not going to solve your problem. Now, I'm going to give you an example as well. And I want to illustrate how sometimes we forget this, and actually we make things worse for ourselves, worse than they were before. You have our fellow who's spending too much money. Vacations are lovely, so are staycations. You know this word, a staycation? I want to point something out. If I got on a plane today and I flew to Paris, do you know what I would do? I'd go online, I'd find all these amazing museums to visit, I'd find these wonderful sites of a big, beautiful city, beautiful architecture. I'd find lots of things to go look at. You know where I haven't seen all the museums? Flipping Fifth Avenue, 1 block away. Now, someone else in Paris is sitting there thinking to himself, where should I go? I know, I'll go to New York. And I'll go to... So there's some guy sitting over there dreaming about New York. And I'm here and I'm dreaming about Paris. I want to go somewhere else. We've decided that this is what we need. And you tell yourself, I need to get away. I need to get away from my head. I need to get away from my health, my mental health. I need to get away. Yes, you need a change of pace for your mental health. But your mental health doesn't speak French. That's not its problem. It doesn't need someone to say, comment ça va? I don't know exactly what they would say. I don't speak French. But I feel like if you say something in a certain accent, it sounds French. Also, if you look down at people, it sounds French. And they're all making fun of you like, I don't speak English. Yes, you do. You do speak English. Okay. My friends, this is so important. Vayetze Yaakov vayelech Harana. What is Yaakov running away from? Esav. Where is he running to? Haran. Now to me, this also illustrates something that I think is really powerful. Sometimes the reason why you go where you go has nothing to do with the reason why you left where you left. And this is true not just about places. It's true about jobs. It's true about status in your life. It's true about places, communities that you choose to raise your children in. There's so many different iterations of this, where a person is making a decision of where they want to go. In Yaakov's Vayetze, he's leaving because of Esav. Why is he going to Haran? He's going to Haran to get married, to find a wife. The two things are not related, at least on the surface. They have nothing to do with one another, correct? But sometimes, the only thing that you need to do is leave. And sometimes, it actually doesn't matter where you go to. Because the problem is you being here. I remember once, a long time ago, there was a person that was struggling with a very specific family issue. It was very difficult situation, very toxic, very problematic. Okay. So they're handling back, forth, where should this person go, which yeshiva, which place in Israel, go to this place, go to that place. And I remembered my rabbi's words to me. Eretz Israel is not an address. It doesn't solve your problems. The promised land that everyone's looking for, it's not going to solve your problems. Your problems you solve here. So he said, which place should this boy go to? Which yeshiva? And I said to them, you know what, it doesn't matter. The number one value of this kid going to yeshiva in Eretz Israel was that he's not in his own home. All sorts of abuse, all sorts of toxic. It doesn't matter. If you told me you were sending him to New York to flip burgers in McDonald's, I would have helped raise money to send this boy there. Because he was in a situation of pikuach nefesh. To me, this is amazing. Because you have Yaakov Avinu, vayetze vayelech, very disciplined. But then you have a situation with Yosef that we're going to come across soon, where he's in a situation of sakana, where his master's wife is trying to convince him to be with her. And what does he do? Vayanos, and he runs, vayetze hachutza. It doesn't tell us where he goes to. It doesn't say, and he ran, and he went to 7-Eleven. It doesn't say that. Where did Yosef go? Nowhere. Out. And sometimes a person is so busy trying to find their vayelech, where am I going to, that they don't realize that the whole point actually was just getting out of where they are, and it doesn't matter where they go to. How many times is a person in a shady business situation, not that they put themselves there, but they find themselves there. So they think to themselves, you know what, I'm going to try and find another job. They wait to find another job, and now, barminan, something happens, it wasn't correct, it wasn't honest, nothing to do with you. But you're also on the contract. You're also in the business deal. Now when the police come, whose name are they looking for? Yours too. Why? Because you didn't find the landing place in Vayelech. Just get out. You don't need a destination to quit. I know people, again, it's wild in New York. Because people, there's so many options, there's so many people to go to date, that they date people, and I call these people placeholders. You know what a placeholder is? You have on a website, you're building a website for whatever it is, for rental, whatever. And until you put the thing there, there's just a random picture of a horse. You're not selling horses, but there's a picture of a horse there. It's called a placeholder, place card. Khalas. I know I'm going to switch it later, but something's just to hold the place of the picture right now. You have people who are dating people, and the person for them is a placeholder. And what are they really waiting for? They can't find their vayelech, so I'll just hang out here, and I won't vayetze. If that's you, get out. It's not fair to the other person. It's not fair to you. Oftentimes the reason why we can't find a destination to go to is because we haven't checked out completely from where we are. Now, if it's not a situation where it's very bad for you, fine. You're in a holding pattern until you find a place to wind up. But sometimes, vayanos vayetze achutza, get out today. I'll never forget when I was in yeshiva in Eretz Israel, and I was in an apartment, and there's a lot going on in this apartment. Nothing bad, nothing untoward, but it's a lot of people. So, everybody's got their own thing and they do their own mishagas. You know what my rabbi said? He said to me, Shlomo, you're living in an apartment with 15 guys. On any given day, one of 15 guys is not in the mood of going to yeshiva, right? So that guy, he now needs a partner. And now they're going to go wherever they're going to go on a tiyul, 3 guys. Well, every day someone will come up with something. You can't be in an apartment with 15 guys. So I told him, you're right, Rabbi. It's a good point. I said, I'll wait till the end of this Zman, the end of this semester, and then I'll look for a new apartment. He goes, today. I said, Rabbi, I'm paying rent. I'm signing the thing until the end of the contract. When I finish paying, I'm not going to pay double. The rabbi said, and he had no money, the rabbi. He said, I'll pay you rent for the rest of the semester. You find a new place. It's better for you. It wasn't that it was doing me any bad. It wasn't that it was hurting me. But the rabbi could see that there was something coming up that this is something that might bring you down. And why would you put yourself in that? Get out. You don't have an apartment, doesn't matter. Check out. You know what will happen once you've checked out and you have nowhere to go? You'll find the place to go. And by the way, it's exactly what happened. So I'm going to ask, like I like to do when we're learning something about Yaakov Avinu and running away from his murderous brother, I'm going to ask everyone to put themselves in Yaakov's shoes. To think for a moment on their life and ask themselves 2 questions. What am I trying to get out of and where am I trying to go? And is the reason I'm trying to get out of what I'm trying to get out of a good reason? Or am I trying to run away from myself? I'm in a bad relationship. No, you are the bad relationship. Isn't that the case sometimes? Guy hasn't worked on his midot. He's mean. He's selfish. So he says, my relationship's not working. Of course, because you want a slave, not a wife. Yeah, that's not going to change when you meet someone else. You're going to do exactly the same thing to that person. So what's the difference on working yourself now in this relationship or working on yourself later in the next one? What am I leaving that I should not be leaving? And vice versa. What am I staying in where I should not be staying? You know, we don't often realize the power of friends. How what your friends are doing, you know, ever hear your parents ask you, what are you doing? You have off vacation. What are you doing? What do parents always say? What are your friends doing? What are your friends getting up to? Isn't that what parents ask? Why are they asking that? Because they know you're going to do what your friends are going to do. You got that? Now, adults like to think that that's how children work. Shema Yisrael. You think once you got married, you start having kids, now you're no longer subject to peer pressures? It's unbelievable. Yesterday in the Beit Knesset, the Kohen went up, Ishtabach Shemo, thank you, Hazaku Baruch, Shemit Nadev, $501 in Beit Knesset. And you know what I knew? That 90% of the next people that will go up to the Sefer were going to give $501 in Beit Knesset. And if he would have said $360 in Beit Knesset, what would everyone have said? $360 in Beit Knesset. It's wild. If he would have said 1,000, he would have said 1,000. Why? Because they don't feel left out. Is that true about everybody? No. But out of the 8 aliyot, okay? Out of 8 aliyot we had yesterday, I think 6 were 501. I just want you to think about that for a minute. Parents, grandparents. This is what we do. This is what we do. We copy people. And then we don't do what we need or what we want. We do what they want or they did. Now that guy might be suffering from some sort of insecurity issue. So he needs to walk up and give $18,000 to the shul. You don't have $18,000. Sometimes in the Beit Knesset, there's outstanding bills, and they're outstanding bills for a very long time. Guy doesn't pay his bill, you message him, you email him, he still doesn't pay his bill. You email him, you message him, he carries a balance for a year, for 2 years. Happens. And you know what I think to myself? Not why is this guy not paying? A lot of times the guy's not paying because he can't. I'm not thinking that. You know what I'm thinking? Don't say you're going to give it. Don't stick yourself in the hot water and then say, ouch, it hurts, it's burning. Now the guy will tell me, what do you want from me? I don't want to feel like a dib. I don't want to feel like a spoon. The other guy said, I want to say it. Really? Is that how the rest of your life works? And unfortunately, the answer for many people is yes. There are people who have a Ferrari who can't afford to fill it with gas. So what do? They park it in front of their house where everyone can see it. And they pray to Hashem that someone steals it and destroys it. And then they get the insurance money. And they can say, well, I had the Ferrari, but someone stole it from right in front of my house. I just realized it's not worth it. I'm just going to buy a cheap car that if they steal it, it's not a big deal. And then he buys the car he can afford. That is the ideal scenario for social climbers. I'm getting into camping. No, you're not. You can't afford a house. People won't, they're just not, and there's no way you could run that's going to change your reality. If your reality is in you. If you need to work on, so 2 questions. What are you already running away from that you need to stay put for? Because you have no reason to run. And the flip side, what are you staying put for that you really need to run away from in your life. And that might be a what, that might be a who, that might be a situation, that might be a bad influence, that might be a deal, something which is not proper. May Hashem bless us always to be able to have the gift of being honest with ourselves. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen v'amen.